Welcome to Retirement Rescue Radio, a show specifically designed to help retirees and pre-retirees maximize their financial efficiency so you can live the retirement lifestyle you've always imagined. Your host is Nate Miller, investment advisor representative and author of the CPR Retirement Rescue Roadmap. Nate discusses thoughts and ideas from some of today's most knowledgeable professionals in the field of finance. He offers strategies along the way to help you make better financial decisions so you can maximize your retirement. This is Retirement Rescue Radio.
Well, hey there, and welcome to another episode of Retirement Rescue Radio. I'm your host, Nate Miller. And today we're going to be going over something that you may not realize about Social Security and spousal benefits. And this is really important because there was some legislation that changed back in 2015 that a lot of people didn't realize took a certain benefit away from all of us. And it was actually a kind of a big deal. And when it was happening, I was absolutely floored with how fast it was introduced and then passed. It was lightning speed, and that normally does not ever happen in the government. The government's really good at doing nothing or kicking the can down the road. They're not usually known for their quick action. And so here's what happened. So there was something called the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 that Barack Obama basically just flew through and got passed. And what it changed quite a few things with the Social Security, but one of the big things that it changed was something called the spousal benefit. So here's how claiming the spousal benefit used to work. It used to be and some pieces of this still exist today, but I'll talk about the changes here in a second. So the way it used to work is if you are the spouse of the higher earner, so you've got a higher earning spouse and you've got the lower earning spouse. To give you an example, in my family, the higher earning spouse was my dad, and my mom pretty much raised all 6 kids. And so she was out of the workforce for a very long time because her work was making sure that we turned out to be, good human beings that would contribute to society. And so she didn't have a whole lot of Social Security as a result, unfortunately, because that position, while super important, doesn't tend to pay very well. And so here's what it used to be. So like my dad's full retirement age benefit was going to be more than my mom's. And half of my dad's full retirement age benefit would be more than my mom's. And so what the spousal benefit used to allow us to do is, let's say, in this case, my mom, the lower earning spouse, once the higher earning spouse filed for Social Security, that would make the other spouse eligible to claim a spousal benefit. And so let's just give you an example of using real numbers here. So let's say you've got the higher earning spouse, their full retirement age amount for Social Security is going to be $2,800 a month. $2,800 a month, and the spouse is their amount at 62 will be $800. Their amount at full retirement age is $1,200, and their amount at 70 is $1,500. Okay, so we got $800, $1,200, $1,500. And the higher earning spouse full retirement age amount is $2,800. And even if they didn't want to claim at full retirement age, but they wanted to make their spouse eligible, they could file what was called a restricted application, which means they filed and then immediately suspended their benefits. So they're not actually suspending them. They just wanted to file in order to make their spouse eligible for the spousal benefits. And so in this case, what that would do is that means the spouse is now eligible for a $1,400 a month payment, which is more than the $1,200 a month payment at their full retirement age, right? And so that's why they would do that. They would want to claim the spousal benefit because it was more than their regular benefit. And then what they could do, in this case, it's $1,500 when she turns 70. And so if she wanted to, she could claim the spousal benefit at full retirement age because her spouse filed and suspended and get $1,400 a month. And then she could change to $1,500 a month when she turns 70. Now, I know there's going to be cost of living adjustments in there as well. So those numbers will move accordingly. And so if she would be able to get a raise is the bottom line of what that meant back when that law was still able to be used. And so they could file and the older or the higher earning spouse could file and suspend. The lower earning spouse can earn a spousal benefit, and that would not affect their own benefits. So their own benefits would continue to grow until 70, and then they could change at 70 and get a higher amount then too. And that was a strategy that was well known and well used among middle America. Now, when it flew through Congress, they basically, I want to say they spun it as a, quote, loophole that the rich were taking advantage of. And that's how they get everything through, is because everybody, quote, hates the rich. And so, of course, they're going to vote for something. And now what happens is it actually affected a lot of middle America. It wasn't the rich that this affected. It's middle America and the lower income that this Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 actually affected. And so, unfortunately, and this is not a left or right talk right here. It just happens to be that Barack Obama was one that put this through, and he was a Democrat, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. This is just what happened and what were the results of it. And so, in this case, the $2,800 was the full retirement amount. So yeah, that's how it used to work. Okay. You used to be able to file a spousal benefit, let your own grow until 70, and then you could claim that. Well, in 2015, this Bipartisan Budget Act took that ability away. So now if the lower earning spouse tries to claim a spousal benefit, they are going to get the higher of either the spousal benefit or their own benefit. So they are going to be deemed as to having filed for their own benefit at the same time. And so the ability to claim the spousal benefit and let their own benefit grow until 70 is now no longer available. Plus, the higher earning spouse can no longer file and suspend their benefits and therefore not receive them while making the other spouse eligible for it. They can no longer do that. They actually have to file. They have to file. They can't file and then say, oh, nope, didn't file. Just suspend my benefits. They can't do that. And so they actually have to claim Social Security benefits. And so those two, things there are going to drastically reduce the amount of Social Security that a couple could have taken if they were in the right situation. And so that's one of the things that happen. However, there is something that a lot of people still don't realize that we still have available, even though they took that part of the spousal benefit away from us. The part that we still have available is, let's say the younger spouse, the lower earning spouse, still has those same numbers: $800 at 62, $1,200 at full retirement age, and $1,500 at 70. She's still got the same numbers. And the higher earning spouse in this case, I was talking about my dad, he's still got the $2,800. Those numbers are still the same. And so what we can do, though, is, let's say the younger earning spouse, and in the case I was talking about, my mom, and it's $800 right at 62. Well, let's just say she decides to start claiming at 62. She gets the $800 a month she's claiming based off of her own benefit, her own record, her own Social Security benefits. She claimed her own Social Security benefits, no spousal benefits at all that she claimed. Now, when the higher earning spouse finally does start claiming, now she is eligible for a spousal benefit. And if that benefit is more than what her actual benefit is that she's receiving, she can get a raise. So it's almost like we're doing it backwards now. So the older, higher earning spouse still has to claim first in order to make them eligible, but they could claim on their own benefit first and then switch to spousal. What we can't do is go spousal first and then switch to our own. So that's what we cannot do. But the ability, like I just mentioned, for the younger spouse to claim right at 62 and then possibly get a raise when the other spouse starts claiming at full retirement age, that is still available. And that's what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Social Security, because they just hear that the spousal benefit got taken away. So there is still the opportunity to do some type of switching there and get a potentially higher benefit. And so anytime that we notice that a couple is in that scenario, there was one scenario where I actually found an extra $500 a month for a couple because they didn't realize that they could do that. They were still claiming based off of their the younger earning spouse's record, where the older spouse's Social Security amount was way higher. So half of his amount was more than what the clients or the lower earning spouses was. And so I was able to notice that just right off the bat. And they had been with another advisory firm for about a full decade. And this advisory firm, since most advisors end up doing a very good job of investing our money when we're working, and there's not as high of a percentage of all the advisors that are out there that specialize in retirement. And so it was just something that advisor just did not do as a normal part of their practice. And that was it. And so they decided to start working with us simply because it was now more of a retirement relationship, since we focus mostly on people that are in retirement or very close to it. So Social Security planning is part of our process, and it just wasn't part of the other advisors' process. And so if you guys have any kind of questions out there about how your Social Security situation is going to play out, reach out to us, because Social Security is a pretty important decision. How you claim Social Security can affect your taxes. How you claim Social Security, as we just showed, can definitely affect your income. And if you can get a higher amount from Social Security, that could mean your portfolio doesn't have to work as hard in order to give you all the income that you need. So that means your portfolio can last a lot longer with adequate Social Security planning. So there's a lot that goes into that discussion and that decision. And so if you guys have any of those questions, just go ahead and reach out. We'll have our link to our 15-minute calendar, or link to our calendar for a 15-minute phone call. And on that phone call, there's not going to be anything sold. We don't take clients on a 15-minute phone call. I mean, shoot, I don't know anybody that really could at that point. We're just trying to figure out what it is that you guys have going on, what your situation looks like, whether or not we can help, whether or not we might need to go to a longer meeting, maybe if it, continue doing Zoom, or if you're out of state, or if you're in this area, we can just sit nose to nose and answer a lot of those questions for you, because that's really all we're trying to do at that point. So yeah, go ahead and click on that link, get a 15-minute phone call. We'll help out. And so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. So there is still the ability to do some form of claiming and switching to get a higher Social Security amount. It's just you have to be in the right scenario. It's not gone. It's just less lucrative than what it used to be, unfortunately, thanks to that bipartisan act in 2015. So there's the government, and they're trying to help, right? Yeah, and I'm not going to go down that road for a little while, for right now. All right. That's it, guys. So yeah, reach out, and we'll help you out as much as we can, and look forward to talking to you guys again on the next podcast. Take care.